Well, time to get an update now as to what O.R Tambo International Airport is doing in order to prepare for the increased volumes that it might see in the coming weeks, in particular from both local as well as international visitors. Well, in studio, we're joined by Unati Pachache Phyllis. She is the International Airport spokesperson. Unati, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Indeed. As a lot of South Africans as well as international visitors prepare for their holiday into South Africa, I'm sure that puts a lot of strain on an airport like O.R Tambo, which is one of the biggest on the continent. So what measures do you have to put in place at this time of the year for the increased traffic volumes?
Just to give some context into how really big we are, we facilitate about 19 million passengers every year, but our capacity is about 28 million passengers. So we are not only the biggest but the busiest in the African continent. So normally during this time we do see, obviously an influx of passengers coming through our airports. On an average day, we facilitate about 51,000 people arriving and departing on any day. But we've seen that obviously increasing during the festive season. And obviously a couple of days ago, when we were in 10-day of mourning for Utata, we've seen those volumes also increasing. So on the 13th of December, I think we averaged around 60,000 passengers per day, about 550 aircraft movements on a daily basis. So it is a busy time.
That's a huge number that you're quoting there. From a personnel perspective, people on the ground to take care of the luggage, security services, someone at the information desk. What does this mean for the company? Clearly, some people aren't going on holiday, unfortunately.
Well, it's a 24-hour operation, so no holiday for most of us. But what happens is that a couple of years ago, we've really intensified our stakeholder engagement and management. As you know, the airport has over 30,000 employees working in it, to keep it running on a daily basis. And of those, only about 1,200 are actually Airports Company South Africa staff. So it is really a multifaceted stakeholder conglomerate, if you can call it that. So it really takes a lot of behind the scenes operations. So during this time where we are anticipating more people to come through our airport, going away on holiday, coming back again in January, we intensify those processes. We make sure that our stakeholders are on board, obviously working through the South African Police Services, EMPD, who is our Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department looking after our roads at the airport and surrounds. And then obviously within AXA itself, we've got our Airport Management Center where we hold or house a lot of our stakeholders, and that's where the facilitation happens. And it is a marvel to watch, and it is working very well for us at the moment.
Shisha, well, sounds like a well-oiled machine, and no doubt a lot of pressures faced by the personnel there, but also from an infrastructure perspective, I take it you guys have a lot of space to work with, and after the recent refurbishments that took place before 2010, this makes your job slightly easier. Much
easier. We are facilitating 19 million, as I said, per year. We have a capacity of 28 million passengers per year. So from averaging 51,000 passengers on a daily basis on any given time to about 60,000 and not feeling the impact, I'd say we're doing pretty well, and obviously monitoring the situation very closely.
And naturally, airports are places where people spend quite a significant amount of time either being delayed by flights or getting there a little bit extra early. But you've also recently upgraded your viewing deck, if I'm not mistaken. Walk us through that.
In July of this year, on the 23rd of July, when we were celebrating our 20th birthday as Airports Company South Africa, we were also commemorating the death of O.R Tambo, after whom the airport is named. So on that particular day, we unveiled the Oliver Reginald Tambo Memorial Exhibition. This is a space where you can not only learn about his life, but you also get to see the history of the airport dating back 50-odd years, as the airport itself, from the time that it was called Jan Smuts, then Johannesburg International Airport, and then eventually it was named after O.R Tambo. And that's really a space where we're saying we know that some of you come 3 hours or 4 hours even before time, and if you've done with your shopping, if you're done with your coffee, said your farewells to your family, please come around to the viewing deck. It's at the International Departures Hall, which is directly above the Departures Hall of International. So it's an easy access. And there you get to learn about the South African history, not only about O.R Tambo, but you also get to learn about the likes of the Nelson Mandelas and the Sisulus, etc.
Something else that you've recently introduced to the airport is a free Wi-Fi hotspot. I take it the whole airport is a free Wi-Fi hotspot, but how did this come about? I take it naturally there are restrictions as to how much data they can use.
No, absolutely. I think this is part and parcel of our customer centricity. So what we do is we engage our passengers on a daily basis and a monthly basis. We do surveys. And this is one thing that came out of those surveys, where passengers were hungry for something like free Wi-Fi. So initially we've introduced a 30-minute or 50 megabyte Wi-Fi free service, whichever comes first, throughout our terminal space.
So I don't need to be booked on a flight to make use of this?
No, you don't need to be booked on a flight, and you also don't need to be a VIP to an airline, for instance, because you know, some of our high-end clients also get that free service from the lounges. So so if any airport user is more than welcome to use it. You can have coffee in one of our coffee shops or one of our restaurants while you have free Wi-Fi. Obviously, we are benchmarking against most of the airports around the world, you know, to get the best service. So we may see the minutes increasing, obviously, with the restraints of the bandwidth, etc.
Well, free gifts for those who might be traveling on Christmas Day is that they can make use of the Wi-Fi there. Unathi, thank you so much for your time today, and all the best at the airport. That was Unathi Bajaji Phyllis, O.R Tambo International spokesperson.